Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'll be sharing with you 3 ways to match the frequency of the reality that you desire. Now with this process, as I've said many times, we don't get in life that which we want, but we always get a reflection of who we are being. Now, when it comes to understanding vibration and frequency, it can sound like something that's very woo-woo, but when we really put it into simple terms, we can think of our vibration as the sum total of the state of being that we're in, of the actions that we're taking, and the thoughts that we're having. And we have to understand that in order to experience the reality we prefer, it's about having thoughts, actions, and a state of being that is equal to the version of us that is living in that kind of experience. So when we begin to mirror that expression of ourselves, we will then, after a certain period of time, begin to experience the reflection of that internal state of being and those internal thoughts and those actions that we're taking that's creating us to be that which we want to experience. So our frequency in our way is a sum total of all of that, of all of those vibrations. Now, the first one I have for you, and the first way that we can go about this, is simply understanding the importance of books. Now, I've had this theory for a while, and it's something that's kind of based in science from what I've read. It's the idea of what we call mirror neurons. It's when we're immersed into someone's work and we are studying it, we begin to then have similar thought patterns as the person who wrote it. And this was something that I've learned because when I read people's books, especially people that are very passionate about what they're writing about, I feel like I almost tap into their mind. Like I start to almost think in a similar type way. And one of the books, honestly, that was very apparent for this was a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And it's all about being in the moment. But when you read the book, it's almost like it brings you into the moment by reading it. And there's just something about it that really allows me to connect to whatever those people are thinking. And what I encourage you to do is to find someone who is in a similar type state or a similar type of field that you want to be in, whatever it is. If it's an athlete, read a book or a biography of an athlete and begin to really tap into how those people think, how they feel, maybe even their life story. And that as you begin to do that, you start to mirror, you start to match and think in a similar way of them. Now, another little tip that I have is if you are listening to an audiobook can be very powerful, but what I recommend is getting an audiobook from the person that actually wrote it. So, meaning that it's the person that's the author of the book is the person that's speaking. There's something about it. I'll only get audiobooks if it's the person that wrote the book that's also narrating it, simply because I believe that you're tapping into the person's mind that is reading the audiobook. So, some little tip that I have for you, but I found it to be very powerful. Find people that have done something similar that you want to do. Read their biography or simply read their work. And as you begin to do that, you literally start to match the thought patterns of them, thus bringing you closer to seeing the reflection of that you. Now, the second one I have for you involves what is called binaural beats, or understanding how we can more powerfully influence the subconscious mind. Now, this is something that I talk about a lot, but it's really so powerful because when we get to the subconscious level, that's when we get to the level that really allows for great change. Now, when we wake up in the morning, we are moving from a delta state to a theta state to an alpha state to a beta state, and we're fluctuating between alpha and beta throughout our day. Now, when we wake up in the morning, we're coming out of the deep level brainwave activity states and we are moving towards the more conscious ones. Now, in the first 20-30 minutes when you wake up, that's when you have most control over your subconscious mind because you're in a state, in a brainwave state that is more influence of it. Now, when you go to bed at night, the 20-30 minutes of falling asleep, it's the same idea. And what you can also do are put in headphones and do what are called binaural beats. And what I recommend is a theta state is very powerful for influencing the subconscious mind. Now what you can do is use your brainwave activity state for knowing when you're in those states to then condition yourself with visualization for what you prefer to experience. So this could mean visualizing you doing exactly what you want to do, assuming the feeling that you would have, doing the reality that you prefer. And as you begin to do that more and more, you begin to influence the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind speaks in the language of feeling. So this is about feeling. It's about bringing the awareness out of the head and into the body. And as you begin to do that, you have more influence over your internal subconscious mind, which then has an influence on everything about yourself. So you can reprogram the beliefs that you have. You can focus on what you would prefer to believe, what you believe in that reality that you imagine of you doing exactly what you want to do. And as you begin to do that, you begin to change yourself from the inside out. So simply do it as you're going to bed at night, as you're waking up in the morning. Simply do it maybe for 10 or 15 minutes a day using binaural beats and headphones if you prefer to do that, and see how it makes a difference in your life. Now, the third one I have for you has to do with the physical action in order to match the frequency of what you prefer. Now, physical action, while it's not the internal part of it, the action is still a necessary part of the equation, because action is a part of who we are being. Who we are being is composed of the self-image that we have, the beliefs we have, but also the state of being that we have, which is also interlinked with the action that we're taking. So when we are taking action, doing what we love to do, doing what we prefer to do, that is easily putting us in the state of being that is necessary in order for us to experience what we want. Now, what I recommend is that if your passion is, for example, graphic design or painting or music or whatever it is, in the morning for the first hour or for one of the first hours of your day, intend to do it for a whole hour, kind of like time chunk it. And as you do that for the first maybe hour of your day, or after you eat or whatever it is, what you then begin to do is exist in that energy state, and you are taking action towards whatever goal you have, and you're then becoming more of what you want to experience. So the power in an action is that as you do that, you are anchoring in that state of being of who you prefer to be. You are also getting closer and closer to maybe a goal you have. So if you were to want to create art every single day, what you could do is have it a must that you create one piece of art a day right when you wake up in the morning or for the first couple hours of your day. And then what you can do is eventually put that out online. You could eventually try to market it. That will bring you closer and closer to you doing the action of what you prefer to do, and even turning that into something that you do for a living. So taking action is very powerful for allowing us to then sync up with the version of ourselves that is doing exactly what we want to do. Remember, you can put yourself in a theta state simply by listening to binaural beats, or by waking up in the morning and doing it and feeling it the first thing, also right before you go to bed. And remember that you can simply decide that you are going to focus on information that serves you. You're going to read books of the people that you want to mirror the thought patterns of. You're going to start to focus on how those people think, how they feel, what kind of beliefs do they have. And as you immerse yourself into their type of energy, you find that you start to resonate in the same state. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.